Pokemon Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon time! Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and welcome back to another facts, Easter eggs, secrets, cool things in Pokemon kind of video. Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. The Alola region, that was my first region here on YouTube. When I started, the Alola region did not exist, and I remember the day that the trademarks were discovered for Sun and Moon, and then the next day there was the trailer and people speculating, what is this region? Oh my goodness, it's based on Hawaii, and I got to talk about that in my video. I got to see the reveal of Pokemon like Beware and Wimpod. Beware, I was absolutely convinced was fake for the first like half hour that I was looking at it. Now I love it, but this really takes me back. Maybe it takes you back to an age of, I don't know, Fact Fridays? Fact Fridays and the Elite Four podcast. Oh, the glory days. It really was. I was up and coming at that time, and I really enjoyed my time doing that on YouTube. And in fact, Fact Fridays, I could see Secret Saturday becoming a thing with secrets, Easter eggs, and that kind of thing. And now, with the release of this video, I've done every single region. Apart from Sinnoh. Oh yeah, the Sinnoh region. It's almost like I'm waiting for the tag words to be more relevant in search. Let's do this thing. So here we go, we're on Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Hang on, here's a secret and Easter egg for you. New secrets await discovery in Alola. Let's go. Let's go. Wow, see, now that's a little bonus one. Yeah, you can have that one for free. You can have the rest for free as well, because I don't charge. Although, thank you to any of you buying my merch. Hello, gorgeous. Why did Phoebe made me a tee, and it's not with my hat design on, and it's disgusting, because it's available in the store right now. Wow. The tea itself tastes really gorgeous. Thanks, Phoebe. But thank you anyone supporting the channel. Right, let's do this thing. 15 Easter eggs, 20? I'm actually not sure. Starting off with number one of my absolute favorites, the Spearows on the bridge at the very beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, the main character walks to the first area where Tapu Koko appears. You walk up the trail and you see 3 Spearow attacking Cosmog, and you run over to it on the bridge, and the main character kind of bends over it, protecting Cosmog. Cosmog unleashes a big blast of power to kind of get rid of the Fearow, and actually I think then Tapu Koko swoops in to save you. Ultimately, all of this is one big reference to the first episode of the Pokemon animated series in which Ash Ketchum and Pikachu are getting attacked by a flock of Spearow, and it looks like it's game over for Pikachu. Ash is standing in front of him, body blocking the attacks, and then Pikachu lets out a big burst of electrical power to save the day. Number 2, we have Professor Burnett, and anyone who is familiar with the games will know what this Easter egg is right off the bat. Because Professor Burnett, really cool character, wife of Professor Kukui, and I think they're having a kid together at the end of the animated series. Very cute. But her first appearance was long before Professor Kukui, not in the Alola region, but in fact in a Unova game. No, I have my Nintendo DS. My Nintendo DS. How many of you remember the Pokemon Dream Radar game on the 3DS, where you can find the Therian forms of Landorus, Tornadus, and Thundurus? This is it. And that is Professor Burnett. Look, here's a little side-by-side, and as you can see, they're the same character. And of course, in the Alola games, she studies alternate dimensions, which is where the Dream Radar game is set, in the dream world. Number 3, in the Marley City Gardens, there is a golden bridge. Now, there's a whole bunch of different connotations here. Marley City, for example, is inspired by the architecture of like Johto and Kanto, and the golden bridge is a direct reference to the Nugget Bridge from the Generation 1 games. This is the bridge in Cerulean City, at the end of which you will battle a Team Rocket Grunt and get given a nugget. Actually, I think the nugget is from the trainers who come after the bridge, but it's just called the Nugget Bridge. Ultimately, though, the Team Rocket Grunt gets referenced because after you've left the area and gone back into it for the second time, you'll find a trainer at the very end of it after a streak of trainers called Veteran Dom, who will reference Team Rocket. He's got Team Rocket style Pokemon with an Ekans, and very specifically, he'll be like,
I wonder what old Giovanni's up to these days.
Despite the fact that Giovanni shows up later with Team Rainbow Rocket, heck, they might have been doing some foreshadowing. But specifically, he's called Veteran Don, a Don as in the leader of a mafia, like Team Rocket is with Giovanni at its head. Number 4, this is a really weird one. So, on the Ula Ula Island, on one of the beaches, there is a washed up bottle with a note inside it. That note will direct you to a trainer in Marley City. And that trainer will reference the fact that the note is from their friend, a trainer at the Viridian City gym called Arabella. And there is, sure enough, in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, an Arabella who's at the Viridian City gym. And this trainer has a Stantler and a Tauros. What does that mean? I honestly, nothing. It's just a weird little bit of side detail. In fact, Arabella didn't even reappear in the Viridian Gym in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so it's a really weird, obscure reference. Number 5, I've done a whole theory about this. Okay, so the trial captain, Ilmia, I hope I'm saying the name right. I never was sure on it. Well, Ilmia is an interesting one. The normal type trial captain, Ilmia uses primarily their main Pokemon, a Smeargle, which, okay, in itself, not that interesting, but Ilmia is a lover of art, and in fact, if you go into their house in the Kalos region, you'll notice on the wall, there's artwork that references the Kalos region with its beautiful landscapes and its beautiful scenery. I think you can even get given the Shallow Sable, which is a food item from Kalos, in his house. Kind of an odd connection. What's that about? Well, on the island of Alola, there is a fairy type trial captain, Mina, one of my favorite designs in Pokemon with the paintbrush hair. I just think it looks great. And Mina is an artiste, and specifically when she appears in the Sun and Moon games, she references Ilmia, and she's like, I wonder what that boy did for his trial captain, for his trial. She's curious, she's thinking about him. Why is that? Well, all of the artist trainer class from the Kalos region, they all use just one Pokemon. That Pokemon, you guessed it, is Smeargle. It would seem to be the case that both of these characters met each other beforehand in the Kalos region, and that this Smeargle is probably a gift from Mina to Ilmia. Why this gift is given, who's to say for sure, but it's one of the most popular theories on my channel, actually. I will leave a link to it, card, button, all that jazz. Right, speaking of my Pokemon theories, let's take a look at Olympia and Acerola, and I wonder what's with they both do the same. They both do the same thing in their character arts. It is interesting that these characters look similar. First of all, Olympia and her whole Pokemon gym is the biggest reference from the Pokemon XYZ days. From the Pokemon X and Y days that reference Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's the biggest reference. Her whole gym in the animated series is a giant observatory. Her psychic Pokemon specifically, I think she uses Solrock and Lunatone. There is this big focus on psychic Pokemon and psychic energy. Her town has a giant sundial thing. There's a reference in Anastar City to moon dials as well. Sun and Moon, Sun and Moon. Olympia is screaming in the age of X and Y. And it's interesting how she and her followers in her gym are dressed, kind of like they're part of this tribe of worshippers of the Sun and Moon. And that's where Acerola comes in. See, on the island that Acerola is a trial champion of, she says that she used to come from a royal family, a lineage that lived on the island. I think they lived in Po Town, before Po Town kind of got all mangled up and destroyed, and they had to move all of these books and ancient texts to the Marley City Library. Nowadays, there isn't royalty in the Alola region, but she is part of that royal lineage. And sure enough, on her island, there is the Lake of Sun and or Moon, depending on what version you're playing, a giant place of worship to Solgaleo or Lunala, a place I believe described in the books in the Marley City Library as a place of a battle between Solgaleo, Lunala, and the Island Guardians. My belief is that this royal lineage, after the first appearance of Solgaleo, Lunala in the Alola region, worshipped those Pokemon of the sun, moon, the Pokemon of the stars, and that is where Olympia's design choices and fashion and gym have all come from. And that yes, she is a relative of Acerola's, and again, that's why they kind of look, similar with their hand poses, things, Okay, I'm getting really hot under these studio lights, so I'm going to try and race through now. Number 7, the GS Ball is mentioned canonically for like the first time, maybe ever in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it is finally confirmed to be the greatest Smith's Ball. The first time that is since like the Johto game and the Johto animated series. Speaking of which, we got Pokemon Crystal Virtual Console with the GS Ball the next year after Usum, so maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. Number 8, as I mentioned earlier, Marley City is very cleared by the influence and inspiration of like the Johto region. You can see that by the tower in the garden, but there are even people who are on that island, or maybe it's on another island, but on one of the islands there are people who say that the Alola region was founded by people who came over from Johto and Kanto on their Pokemon. Number 8, in the Blush Mountain power plant, there is a reference to a gym leader who helped build the geothermal power plant using Pokemon that could detect heat, and I believe this is a reference to Clay and his Krokorok, because Krokorok, even when their eyes are closed, they dig and navigate using heat. Bit of a loose one, but it's either him or like Blaine, for example. Number 10, there is a famous Pikachu in these games. Why is this Pikachu famous? Well, it could be because it's literally Ash's Pikachu. Ash's Pikachu, after all, appears in Mimikyu's room as a Pokemon that Mimikyu is jealous of, so the Pokemon TV show seems to exist in this world. Additionally, Ash Greninja is in the game, so perhaps Ash Greninja is another movie star. But yeah, this Pikachu is famous. It's either that, or maybe it's the Pikachu from Detective Pikachu, or Smash Bros for all we know. But yeah, it's one of those famous Pikachus for sure. Probably the Ash Pikachu though. Number 11, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, we get the Rainbow Rocket episode in which Giovanni and all of the other team leaders use Master Balls to carry their legendary Pokemon. And this is because Giovanni has come from a timeline where he was a success, meaning he stole the blueprints for the Master Ball. And clearly the way that he helped make all of those other team leaders successful is he just showed up in their timelines and said, here, have a Master Ball, catch your legend Pokemon. Number 12, Alolan Exeggutor, Marowak, and Raichu are all references to past games and past things in Pokemon. While a lot of the Alolan forms are just that, they're Alolan variations, these ones specifically take root elsewhere. For example, Alolan Marowak being a ghost type is a reference to Cubone's mother in the first games. Alolan Exeggutor is a reference to the box art from, I believe, Jungle? It's either Jungle or the Southern Islands that saw some artwork in Japan of Exeggutor with a really long neck. And the Raichu, I mean, that's just a huge reference to Surfing Pikachu, a character that has appeared on the card games. There's been a Surfing Pikachu with purple eyes called Puka in the anime. Seem to possess psychic-like powers, so yeah, these are all references to past Pokemon things. Number 13, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, there is a signed autograph of a gym leader from the region you've come from, which we already know is Kanto at the beginning of the game, and this gym badge, if you zoom in real close, you realize is Lieutenant Surge's badge. And specifically, in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Lieutenant Surge signs the badge, maybe suggesting that he was never really a soldier, and actually, the Pokemon War is all theatrics, and he's an actor. Or maybe Lieutenant Surge is really the main character's father, and that's why the mum has a Raichu surfboard. That makes a lot of sense. Number 14, in the Pokemon Trainer School, I believe it is, or it's in the Marley City Library, it's one of these places, there is a book, and that book tells the story of a Slowpoke, Pikachu, and Pyukumuku, and how they're setting off on their Alolan adventure. It's nice, it's sweet, it's lovely, until you go to Luzamine's lab at the end of the game, and see these three Pokemon frozen in ice. What's even worse is you can see these three in the Pikachu Park earlier on in the game, which means this is recent.
Oh no.
And finally, number 15, kind of a bonus, kind of off the wall one here for you. Alola introduced Z moves, which caused their trainers to do all sorts of really funky poses while performing the move with their Pokemon. And in the animated series, Brock and Misty both make a return, and their Z move poses are in themselves references to the original poses of the sprites from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And there you have it, 15 Easter egg secrets, facts. If you want some more, look, there's a whole playlist out there with every single generation being done. Look, I do appreciate you watching and checking it all out, but you will have to wait for Sinnoh. Though it's going to feel very out of place next year if Sinnoh isn't announced, but it will be, so that's fine. With that all said, you are all wonderful. I'll be back very soon, and of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
A huge thank you to anyone who has been supporting the channel this year, whether that's on Twitch, YouTube, or Patreon. And a massive thank you to the biggest Patreon of this month, JD Gottlich. Thank you and happy holidays, everyone.